Coming at you live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. This is the All Dodgers podcast, and then we'll just get to the point. You know why we're here. Gavin Lux has been traded to the Cincinnati Reds. Gavin Lux will no longer be a Los Angeles Dodger. We're going to get into that. We got reactions, thoughts. Is it setting up something bigger? Did the Dodgers make a mistake in trading away Gavin Lux? All that and more on another edition of All Dodgers Live. We bring in my guy, Mr. Kevin Skinner, producer Kevin, coming back from the market where apparently they have really good drink deals, and I can't blame him, but I appreciate you cutting your market run short so we could talk about something we didn't expect today. Dodgers keep pulling some surprises out. They signed, Hae-Sung Kim on Friday out of nowhere, and you kind of assumed a Lux trade was coming at some point. You just didn't expect it to be on this Monday. What are the initial thoughts about the Lux trade?
Yeah, I didn't see that happening at all today. I, honest to God, was figuring they were just waiting for Roki to sign before they did anything else. So I was prepared for 2 weeks of no Dodger anything happening. But hey, here we are.
A little bit from that. That was on that same boat. For people who don't know us, obviously, whenever there's some sort of big news or whatever, Dodgers fans, different baseball fans, kind of find these videos on the internet. My name is Clint Pasillas. Again, that is Kevin Skinner. I am a longtime baseball writer, sports editor. I've been talking about the Dodgers here on the internet for a million years. This guy has also covered the Dodgers for sites like Dodgers Nation, Sports Illustrated, and all that. But we don't need to talk about those. The point is, we're not just idiots hanging out in our office or in our kitchen talking about the Dodgers. We've actually covered the team professionally, so we have an idea of what we're talking about. If you like anything we're talking about, hit that like button. Do subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 9,000 subscribers, and you can help us by doing that. It is free. Just click the button. But yeah, let's get into it. Gavin Lux traded to the Cincinnati Reds. The full trade. The Dodgers are getting back a 37th, I think it's 37th overall draft pick in this upcoming, currently 37th. There are other signings that could happen in the offseason that would offset that compensation number, so it could be somewhere maybe 40, 41, something like that. But Dodgers get a draft pick, they get a compensation round draft pick, and outfield prospect Mike Sirota, however you say it, Sirota. He is currently Cincinnati's 14th ranked prospect by MLB Pipeline, and a outfielder that the Dodgers at one point drafted, but he did not sign with the team. So a little bit of a spoiler way ahead in the show as we talk about, like, hey, maybe they're doing something, setting up for something different down the road. It feels to me, Kev, like those type of draft picks, they tend to move well when you're looking to acquire more international bonus pool money, something they may be trying to do for Roki Sasaki in about a week and a half's time. But we don't need to get too much into that quite yet, I guess.
No, I'm still getting used to MLB allowing trades with draft picks. I'm always just used to player for player, but more recently, like you alluded to, these compensatory picks, which are the only ones you're allowed to trade, they seem to be a little bit more valuable, at least it looks like, or at least they're getting a little bit more movement.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm teasing it, joking about it, but there is some, a reasonable likelihood they could make a move, down the road to add to that sweet pot that does get them eventually get them Roki Sasaki. But yeah, the real thing is reacting to this. It ends a tumultuous but successful adjacent era as a Dodger for Gavin Lux. I mean, he moves closer to home. We know, you've heard it a million times, he's a Wisconsin boy. He's definitely going to get a bigger opportunity there. And the thing I think I like most for him, before we get into like, hey, is this kind of a bad deal for the Dodgers? And I also want to get into comments as well. So guys, do sound off, share your thoughts about this trade. But one of the things I like for Gavin is that he gets that honest mental reset, because this is a dude, former top, prospect with the organization, came up with a lot of expectations that it took him a while to meet them. And I don't know that he ever met those expectations, but he had different spurts of very good runs with the team. But again, now he goes to Cincy. Expectations are on the floor for him. Just show up there, be a World Series champion for a young Reds team, and it's good for him, I guess. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing
No,
at that?
hepatitis C later, all caps. I got the Henny out tonight. Let's go. Clearly something to
Nice.
celebrate for hepatitis C later. Yeah, I mean, the return was good. It was a nice return. You get a first round pick, and somebody we'll talk about a little bit later. But this isn't a trade. This isn't a blockbuster trade, in terms of names being exchanged or anything like that. This very much feels like the Dodgers trying to create some optionality within their roster, something they love to talk about. Again, we'll get into it a little bit later. But why I say that is because that's how the Reds view this too. Hey, you're coming in to be an everyday second baseman. They're not trading for him thinking he's going to be an all-star, which he could. He has the talent. I'm not saying he can't. But realistically, right now, he's a league average bat that plays slightly above average defense. But he plays every day. He's a good contact bat, but he performs fairly well in the bandbox with the Reds. I think he has like a career 950 OPS over there in a few games. It's a very hitter-friendly park anyway.
Yeah.
So that could help, as ease some mental struggles we know that he can have at times. So I think I like this for Gavin. He gets away from, if there was pressure with the Dodgers, there was no pressure with the Reds. They were fifth. I think they finished last in their division last year. I remember the Pirates, and they just want him to be a good second baseman, which he's definitely shown, and we know he has the talent to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, the biggest thing is it's the mental reset. Maybe he can play some shortstop there. Ellie De La Cruz is not a shortstop for them anymore. I doubt that he goes to shortstop, but yeah, he brings an upside bat. He brings a platoon bat. You said it's good. I don't know that it's good for the Dodgers when you look at somebody who still had some team control. The bat can not carry a team, but he could be not a problem when he's right, when he's healthy, when he's right in the head. Something I talked about earlier in Dodgers territory. Little did we know then that Lux would be traded today. But when he's right, the bat is very, very good against right-handed pitching. The Dodgers have somebody who hasn't even played professional baseball yet officially. When you look at the Baseball Reference, he was drafted and signed by the Reds this year. He's only 21. We'll talk more about him in a little bit, but you wonder if there are some holes in that kid's game. I called him in our Discord chat the second coming of DJ Peters, and that was just a very, very lazy take right there. But anyways, before we move on too far, I got to tell you guys about BetOnline, because BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Happy 2025, everybody. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is the ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC. BetOnline is the number one sports betting source for the new year. From touchdowns, three-pointers, and hat tricks, BetOnline has you covered on every game, every play, every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. So let's just keep it blunt. Again, I think the move is good for Gavin, but is it a bad deal for the Dodgers? Because he still has 2 years of team control. The bat is good, and he was not going to be expensive in 2025. What is the play here? What are they working at? Because like you said last night, right now you're looking on paper, Gavin Lux is a better player than Hae-Sung Kim, because we don't know anything about Kim in the States, and he doesn't have the best OPS even in KBO. So is it going to be Kim? Is it going to be Mookie and maybe moving Edman back to short and them trying to get a trade? We'll get to that point in a little bit, but that I don't know. That's where I'm still. We're not going to know who the winner is of this trade until maybe spring training. Like, I'm not upset to see Gavin Lux traded, but to have 21-year-old outfielder and a draft pick for somebody that's young, still has some control, still had some upside and all of that. It's like, it's a bit of a bruh right now. It's a bit of a what? What are we working on? What's Andy cooking right now? Speaking of which, let's dive into it more. We've talked about it. What are the Dodgers getting back? Tell the fine folks here about this 21-year-old outfield prospect, at least from what you know.
Yeah, so he was the 3rd-round pick of the Reds this past year. You mentioned he was formerly a 1st-round pick by the Dodgers, didn't sign, went back to college at Northeastern. They had him playing center field last year. These are his college stats at Northeastern University. So as little stock as you could put into college stats, you could probably put even less into these. But still, here they are. He had a 296 batting average, 470 OBP, and a 981 OPS. He did very well. I was in 49 plate appearances. Excuse me. I think Bruce put up a good graphic of a lot of his stats and percentages. So getting these from him, but looking at it, I could see why he potentially fell. He walks at an elite rate and he has an elite average exit velocity. Like these are like 99th percentile. So his page reads great plate discipline, but like also swings a bat made of Swiss cheese. He was not great with zone contact percentage, and he like really bad zone contact percentage, but he only whiffed like an average amount. So it's like he swings when he's supposed to, but it's less likely than normal that he'll actually make contact. But if he does, it's pretty loud, and it unfortunately really screams James Outman, which is like super
right-handed
lazy.
James Outman.
Yeah, that's what this is literally. It's like great plate discipline, but like, can you make contact?
Again, we know very little about this player so far. This is just you have not seen this kid play professional baseball yet, so there's still the jury is very, very out. I do like the fact that the Dodgers tried to draft him before. It tells you there's some tools there. They say he has some speed. He can play some outfield, presumably, because that's where he plays. I did see, I forget from what, it might have been Pipeline, but the phrase, power over contact being used, big swing, like you said, Swiss cheese. I had written it down as potentially a holy swing, but not in the way that's, for the big guy in the sky, but the one that is Swiss cheese. So if it's part of a trade, if it's part of something else down the future or down the road, or it's just to fill out some outfield depth at AA or really, I guess not AA yet. He hasn't even played professional baseball. If it's to fill out the depth in the system, that's where I'm like, you gave up a current big leaguer for nothing right now. Now that's taking the as my boy Doug would say, the Michelada like half empty approach. On the other hand, there was not really a spot for Gavin Lux anymore, and there wasn't going to be in 2026. It's about time to start moving on from a kid that has holes in his game. He can't hit left-handed pitching. He's limited to second base, and limitations on defense is something the Dodgers don't really tolerate, and they can't anymore. You need to have somebody who can play everywhere, and He can't do that. He couldn't even play shortstop, the position he was drafted to take over, the incumbent to take over for Corey Seager. They said he was going to be the man. He was not the man. We're seeing some folks on the Twitter machine throw around the word bust for Gavin Lux, and I want people in the comments to share like how they think how we will remember Gavin Lux. We don't need to dive into that just yet, but I want to talk about that a little bit later in the show. But I would say calling him a bust, it's wrong, it's inaccurate. Now, did he live up to expectations? Also, very much no. But again, is this a good trade? If it's setting up for something bigger, I love it. The door for Kike Hernandez's return swung wide the fuck open. I would not be surprised if Kike was back, wasn't back in Dodger Blue by the week's end. I don't think this is, clearing a roster spot for anything else. They would need a roster spot for Roki Sasaki if and when he actually, is able to sign. What else? I've seen people in the chat mentioning Chris Taylor. This also tells you Chris Taylor completely untradeable. That's why they had to move on from Gavin Lux. Trust that all other organizations want Chris Taylor as much as we want Chris Taylor on the roster, but he will be around. For the foreseeable future. But the big question, and the next big question, I guess everything's a big question for today when we're doing a show we weren't expecting at all. Is it setting up something bigger? And I'm just going to throw these out and I'll let you spitball. And then again, I keep saying we want to talk to the audience, so we will take comments after this. But listen, hey, Mookie second base, Edmund shortstop, acquire a center fielder, bring back the Luis Robert thing. I already saw my buddy Blake Harris talking about that on Twitter. He's been a big-time Lou Bob guy. What about this one? Muncy to second base, Nolan Arenado come home to L.A. Other question mark. What could be the bigger if setting up something bigger?
It could be any of those you mentioned. You can trade compensatory picks for international money. I believe his agent came out and said that while Roki could sign the 15th, they're likely going to wait until about the 20th to sign. Maybe they're waiting for the Dodgers to move the pick for more international money. So it could be that. We don't, and to clarify something, I believe after everybody signs, likely this will turn into the 41st pick. Specifically when Santander signs. But still, what the Dodgers always like picking in the late 20s, having essentially a second first rounder for this team is huge. It's massive. It's something that they can make something of a player in that range of that caliber. Like you mentioned, any of those are possible. They seem to like Pages in center field. It also kind of basically becomes like a 3-man competition in spring training among Pages, Outman, and Kim. Whichever one of those three, proves their worth, gets to stay, and then Edmund plays the opposite position. I hate the idea of Muncy to second, Arenado to third. If that is the reason, I'd have to see what they gave up for Arenado. It could
if it involves Chris Taylor.
That's what I'm saying. If it involves Chris Taylor, I can't go that far with that. This has to be setting up for something bigger is what I'm getting at. I don't think they would move Gavin Lux now for what is seeming like a little less than what could be expected, unless there was another reason coming up fairly soon. Because if I'm being honest, if they wanted Kike on the roster like today, I honestly think Chris Taylor DFA would have been a more likely move than just trading Gavin Lux for, I wouldn't say pennies on the dollar, but definitely not full value.
Yeah, again, it feels something like there's something bigger in the works. I think that a draft pick sells higher on the internet for international market money, and they want to prime themselves as best they can to land Roki Sasaki. It feels like eating, what is it, 12, 15 million, something like that for Chris Taylor is a lot easier to stomach than the alternative like you that you are mentioning, as people are having fun about Kevin's Kitchen in the comments. As always, we always appreciate Kevin's Kitchen commentary. But let's dive into some of the chat. I want to know what people are thinking in here. We've been talking a whole lot so far. We should move on. Hepatitis C later said Nolan is the garbage man. This isn't 2020, or Nolan is garbage. This isn't 2019. I think Nolan would benefit from a change of scenery, change of being, back somewhere where he's playing for something. That said, I threw it out there. As much as Nolan Arenado wants to be a Dodger, I don't see that happening. I don't think they take on another aging veteran. Unless, it's part of a deal that also includes Ryan Helsley, because we know how much this team does want/need another high leverage reliever. That's something I talked about today with Sonja Chen, MLB.com, Dodgers beat writer. That's a big thing. We know that's a big ticket item for the Dodgers. They want another late reliever, and they kind of need it, especially with Gratterall out. Yeah,
I again, the Arenado trade it's something that I would at the service level.
Hard
no thanks.
Yeah,
like no thanks. But again, depending on who moves what and that full, trade, maybe we'll see. Because I don't love an infield of Max Muncy, Mookie Betts, Nolan Arenado, because Mookie's range is limited and Muncy's range is limited. And Arenado's like declining as well. Like that's just like a really rough left side of the infield.
Yeah.
You pair with Ryan Helsley. I don't know if that. Anyway, I don't know if I'd like it. People keep bringing up that Lux might be part of another trade. Jim Bowden said that they're not interested in trading him.
Happening. Yeah.
Unfortunately for the Reds, they currently view him as a third base outfield option. I have a picture of a taped man on a wall. I'd like to show them, and. I don't know who's gonna tell him.
Well, they're using Gavin for anything but the middle infield.
Yeah,
I pray for his career. The third. I saw somebody posting a one of Gavin's beautiful third base lowlights where he made a play and then he chucked the ball like 40 feet over. Nice timing over Matt Beatty. It was it Beatty? Yeah, it was beautiful. Hepatitis C later also said asking 300-pound Muncy to play second base is cruel. I'll tell you, Max Muncy has said he strongly prefers second base, but he'll play wherever he is needed. Rebecca asking, why does everybody hate the Nolan possibility? He's coming off of, multiple bad years or down years. He's not the Nolan Arenado that, we know and remember from his Rockies days. I could understand the hate. I would not be terribly against Nolan Arenado. I also agree with the idea of like, you're bringing in age, and there's some defensive questions now if you have Muncy and Nolan and Mookie at shortstop, and Mookie, we still don't really know if he's going to ultimately be a shortstop. I think the team looks a lot better with that A scenario I was talking about, setting something bigger up with Edman at short and Mookie going back to second where he fucking belongs. Sorry, Kevin. And then finding an outfielder, or I like what you said, Andy Pages being the center fielder, because when he's applying himself mentally, he's not a bad outfielder. He's a better right fielder, but he made some plays. He made some, conversions in center field, and the front office told us, Brandon Gomes told us at Teoscar's presser, Teo's going to be the right fielder, where he also belongs because he profiles better as a right fielder than as a left fielder. So I think people in the chat really want Mookie. I don't know. I think that it's Korean characters in there saying Mookie is second, or at second is good. Sam Kim asking, what type of stress are we putting on a superstar like Betts to ask him to play both short and second? It's more the short. And the thing that's good about, let's say, him knowing he's moving to shortstop this time, it's not just like we've talked about a few times on the channel. It's not a 10-day ramp up until opening day in Korea. It's you have an entire offseason to learn the arm angles, feel better about it. Dino Evil told me on Dodgers territory, as soon as he moved away from shortstop after coming back from the hand injury and was playing right field, immediately his throws started getting better when he was practicing the position. We saw video on his YouTube channel, Mookie's YouTube channel, of him practicing at second base in his weird little golf course thing set up in the backyard. Like, give this millionaire opportunities to get better, practice shortstop. He can be better. I've given you a lot of crap about the idea of him playing shortstop. Usually you don't move outfielders into the infield into their early mid 30s or their early 30s. But if there's anybody who can do it, it's Marcus Lynn Betts. Is it ideal? No, but the Dodgers let Corey Seager go. They didn't get Willie Adames, and they need a shortstop for now. And Gavin Lux wasn't going to be that guy, so we'll take it and we'll see what happens with Hae-Sung Kim, if he's going to be a second base option, if it's going to be him and Taylor, if it's going to be him and more likely Kike getting more opportunity there. This trade opens up more question marks, which is great for us, as we have another month plus until spring training. I dig it. John Rod says also Kevin's kitchen has limited range. Care to comment?
It's true. I have it's only a 4-burner stove, so yeah, it's a pretty small range.
God. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. See what everybody did there. Honestly, I didn't even catch it. Yeah, add some thoughts and let's find some comments. And then we do have a couple voicemails from our regulars. I didn't ask for voicemails from people, but they sent them in because I appreciate them. But I am going to get voicemails rolling again as we get into the nitty gritty of the new year. But yeah, go ahead, give us some more thoughts and etc.
Yeah, so the reason I pegged Mookie as a shortstop, not a second baseman, was because Gavin Lux was on the team. When you remove Gavin Lux from the equation, now you open up because you open up a whole different can of worms. There's so much more options. We've kind of not beaten it to death, but we've talked about it. Defensively, this team would be best with Mookie Betts at second base. Absolutely. Yeah. It's not a question. It's just there was somebody there that honestly, if you didn't have him at that position, he's not supposed to be on the roster. Now they don't. He's not. Lux is gone, so Mookie could play second, and I'd be perfectly happy with that. The problem is you need to find a suitable way to fill that hole. Arenado, I don't know. Again, you're still playing Mookie at shortstop. Bats declining. It doesn't look good. He didn't hit left-handed pitching at all last year, which is normally his calling card. There's just a lot of concerns. And then with other shortstop options, the reason I like this is because this opens up the shortstop for the future. This was not a good year for shortstops in general. Yeah. Next year, it's really top-heavy, but like Gunnar Henderson's going to most likely hit the market. Maybe they make a play for that. They've shown they don't care about spending money. Gunnar Henderson is incredible. So maybe they're looking forward to the future for that. Again, they have a couple young guys. I doubt they're ready for next season, like 2025, even 2026. But if their plan is, hey, only a couple of seasons of Mookie at shortstop, move him to second base afterwards, that still gives them flexibility at that spot, which I like. The people who are concerned about, having, and you mentioned bringing Mookie to the infield, I think they did it because he wanted to play in the infield, and he even said he wanted to play second base. I don't think they threw him at shortstop lightly, especially if they were already considering moving Gavin Lux. They probably asked Mookie and said, hey, are you cool playing shortstop? And he most likely said yes. And because if they were planning on moving Lux, they could have just told Mookie, hey, by the way, if and when Gavin gets moved, you're going to play second base. So I do think Mookie had a hand in wanting to, rise to a challenge. If we're being honest, I doubt Mookie has felt truly challenged in MLB for a very long time because he's won 1 million Gold Gloves in right field. He's been one of the best hitters for the last near decade. But shortstop was a challenge for him, and he even said that it was a challenge for him. Yeah. But he wants to meet that challenge. Thankfully, he was poor at the range, he was poor at throwing. And he had good range. Not great range, but he had good enough range.
He had above average range when he was right, and as Dino told us, he could actually receive the ball. The ball gets to him, it goes in the glove. Yeah. It was just the throwing. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's just the throwing, awesome. That's something that we know Mookie Betts can fix given an offseason. I know the return wasn't probably what anybody thought it was, but I honestly think for what it allows the Dodgers to potentially do, it's great. I guess somebody mentioned he graded out somewhat well in center field. Maybe if he learns it, he could be a center fielder. He just needs to learn how to run proper routes and not anyway, first steps and all that.
Yeah. His biggest problem was first step. And you saw that because there's some games when, it's the middle of the summer, you're playing, the sheen of making your major league debut has worn off, and you're playing again, a meaningless game, a perceivably meaningless game against, let's say, the Reds in the middle of the summer. You're kind of gonna, look at the babes in the bleachers or something like that, and you're not gonna see or see the baseball or hear the crack of the bat as well, whatever it is. And when he's engaged, it was a lot better. He was 100% a lot better. Is he the best center field option? No, probably still Tommy Edman, but I would say, I think now with Gavin out of the picture, I kind of prefer the idea of Edman, even though they've said he's going to be the center fielder. I think I prefer the idea of him coming into center field because coming into shortstop because he is a Gold Glove Award winning middle infielder. And even last year he was decent, maybe slightly above decent during the postseason run, but he also didn't get a whole lot of ramp up at shortstop himself. Did Tommy Edman? I
Yeah.
feel like the best possible infield alignment isn't necessarily best for the outfield, but it still feels like there's options to improve the outfield, or you have that wide open spot for Pages. But having Freeman, Mookie, and Edman at short and Muncy at third, it's pretty good. But then you still are, I don't know if you call the bench thin or weak. I don't know.
I think the bench will be fine. You know, again, this whoever they add to take Gavin's spot, I think will help the bench, because ideally you put someone better in, or at least competent for Gavin at second base, whoever that is, or shortstop or center field. An entire offseason of Andy Pages in center, when you could be a good thing. And Gomes said that the plan was for Teoscar to play right and Conforto to play left. At no point did he mention Pages, which I thought was kind of interesting. It led me to believe they're looking at Pages as possibly a center fielder moving forward, which who knows what that does for Edman. Then he would come into the infield. There's just a lot they can do.
Yeah.
And I think that's something where that's value gained for this team. It's just not like a tangible value. Like, you can't touch it. That's a different kind of value.
I 1,000% agree. It's a, I don't know that it's a head scratching move to this Gavin Lux trade. We knew it was going to happen. You hoped it would be for including a Devin Williams, or hoping that it would be something additive to the 2025 team, but it's not. It does help the overall picture. It helps with the optionality, like you're saying. It helps the team do more with the parts that they have, because now second base can be played by just about anybody, as opposed to just Gavin Lux, where that was all he was allowed to do. That was all he was going to be able to play.
I think the organization likes that, because in previous renditions of the team, it was kind of inverted, where they had their infield set up however they wanted, and then they would just rotate left fielders. They've always kind of liked having that position on the team, where like anybody can play this spot at any time, like however we need to rotate guys. And that's what they have now, is just instead of left field, it's second base. Mr. John Rod 499, is there a scenario where we start the season with CT3 and Outman on the 40-man? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Outman can be in the minor leagues and CT can just ride pine.
Both. Well, yeah, scenario, yeah. Both, I question both. I think, if anything is happening, if there's some other sort of move happening, I think they will find a way to offload Chris Taylor. I think that's probably the number one goal for them this offseason, is to offload him and hopefully not have to eat all of the contract. Trust, they didn't want to just necessarily give up Gavin Lux, but that's the move they had available to them right now. I said at the start of the show we have some voicemails. I do want to fire up some voicemails from our guys Noah and Richie. Let's listen to what Noah has to say about this trade.
Well, what up, guys? It's Noah, as you know, and I gotta say, guys, I'm in complete disbelief. I'm not gonna lie, I did not see this coming. Even though there were many talks about Gavin Lux being traded, for example, with that Devin Williams trade, I did not expect it to happen, just because I see him as Andrew Friedman's golden boy. There have been so many ups and downs and moments where I thought it was the perfect time to trade him. But he finally did it. And look at the bright side. At least he leaves a World Series champion, because it would suck if we trade him halfway through the year and then we won the World Series without him. So that's good for him. And on top of that is there will be less pressure on him. And knowing that he's a World Series champion, he practically put a check mark in his bucket list. So let's all be relieved, and let's all finally stop complaining about Gavin Lux, because he's out. So have a good day, guys. And no language today. I'm tired. Goodbye.
Hearing from our buddy Noah, as you know, and it's funny. I was texting with Alana and the foul territory people, and I was like, the straight of Gavin Lux, it kills like half of my content throughout a year. So it does hurt me a little bit. Plus now we're friends on on Twitter,
Yeah,
so it's a whole thing. But again, overall, I'm happy for Gavin. I think it could be better for his career, provided the fact that the Reds are not playing him at third base or in the outfield. But hey, maybe he figures it out with a different kind of opportunity.
He's athletic. He's an athlete. He could.
Yeah.
It's just, we've seen it firsthand that it didn't work out initially, but I don't doubt the athleticism.
These things take time, I guess, or something like that. Hey, let's hear from Richie real quick, and then we'll have some final thoughts. Again, the final thought for today is how will we remember Gavin Lux? But I want to hear from Richie.
Well, hey, Clint. Happy Monday to you. Well, it's been an interesting day, to say the least. I got a new dog over the weekend.
Oh, nice.
I named it Stay. So every time I call it, I'm saying, here, Stay. Here, Stay. But I digress. So, doing a live stream on Sunday so you don't have to double dip on Monday. Well, how'd that work out today? Well, the Dodgers dropped Gavin Lux like third period French. We basically got him for a 6-pack of beer, a bag of balls, and a whole bunch of used jock straps. At the end of the day, we all knew this was coming, although I'm not too sure if we should have given them up that early. I would have rather have seen them give up on Outman and CT3, but hey, I don't know anything. I just kill bugs for a living. But it's a surprise, but it's not a surprise. But, he's going over to the Reds. They're an up-and-coming team. They got Terry Francona as their manager, so he'll thrive and he'll be fine. But it was hilarious, though. I was watching the Reds live stream that came up on my homepage. So they're trying to talk themselves into it for like 10 minutes, and then I turned it off. Well, anyway, Clint, happy Monday to you once again, and fuck the Dodger Stadium parking lot. Fuck the Padres. Fuck Manny Machado. Fuck Tatis, and for the love of God, fuck the Ghost Runner. See ya.
Hey, our first F the everythings of the new year, I think. Right? Yeah.
Maybe that's his New Year's resolution.
Could be. Chris Navarro, $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Chris. Saying, Nostra dumbass. Does it seem odd that we now have a Gold Glove second baseman at center field and a Gold Glove right fielder as a shortstop? Does it? Yeah. No. Yeah. It feels pretty dang odd. Okay, that's the first time trying that. It didn't work out as well as I had hoped. But I can do this. There it is. I have to just clean more things out. Yeah. The Dodgers are going definitely against we'll say against convention there. But the thing is with both of those players, they can do it. They can play all around. Mookie just wasn't given that chance before really 2 years ago, and Dave has said he likes him moving around and he feels better when he's moving around. Maybe ultimately Mookie will kind of play a little bit of both again like he did at the start of last year. But as of now, as of everything we were told, still the plan is, Mookie's going to be the shortstop. Insert name here will be the second baseman. They did sign a guy over the weekend, or a guy on Friday, who played a lot of second base in Korea. You would assume they would like to get some eyes on him at the big league level. And then also, Tommy Edman has won a Gold Glove there. So how will we remember Gavin Lux? World Series champion, not a bust, just somebody who didn't live up to expectations. But were the expectations too high? Probably. But hey, he had a good little run, and another, I guess you could say, failed, not exceptionally great position player prospect for the Dodgers.
Yeah, I'll remember him for the not the walk-off, but the sac fly in Game 5 always. He also hit a pretty remarkable home run one time. I think he hit a grand slam or something to give the Dodgers a go-ahead run in the 9th against the Giants, which was pretty sweet. But I think also what I'll remember about Gavin is, and again, he's not dead. It's just what we'll remember about him as a member of the Dodgers is how unlucky I thought his career was, where he came up during COVID, didn't really find his footing. And then in 22, he finds his footing and then gets a neck injury. Like he's hitting like above 300, gets a neck injury, isn't right after that at all. Starts 23, we're all excited for him, and then the knee injury, and then it just took him, a year all the way, through 24. It's just he was starting to find it at the end of it. I always consider like he's had to overcome a lot. So I just hope that he figures it out with Cincinnati, or at least gets more comfortable there. Because we've said this entire time, the talent is obviously there. He wasn't named, like he was hitting above 900 at every stage of the minor league level. He wasn't named minor league player of the year for no reason.
Yeah.
He's there's something there. It's just he didn't find it in time with the Dodgers.
Yeah, no, that's a great way of putting it. Also, who said it? Somebody in the chat said, I'm going to find it, but Manny Man 5 Dodge saying potential unrealized, and
Yeah.
He's still got a lot of career ahead of him. It won't be in a Dodger uniform, and that's fine. The Dodgers are in a different phase as an organization than a lot of other clubs. Dodgers are ready to win now and win because of Shohei. That's what you're supposed to do. Sam Kim, I really wish the best for Gavin with less pressure. Hopefully he thrives in Cincy. Again, he will. Just don't play him at third base. Don't play him in the outfield.
Yeah.
Hopefully they give him a shot. Give him a shot back at shortstop. He'll figure it out. Mr. John Rod Lux will always have be the crime scene cut out on the outfield fence. Hey,
that team was so funny. I loved like it didn't work out the way you wanted it to, but that was just a funny team. Oh, it was AJ Pollock, Cody,
he's definitely a sneaky, funny dude.
Absolutely, he's got a
personality, yeah, and he was a guy. I think he was part of the invention of a number of the celebrations, for the team and all that kind of stuff. But Gavin Lux, Dodger no more, and we thank him for his service and yeah, like you said, big key moments during the postseason run. Wasn't littered with them, but the moments he did have were pretty dang important. But that's what we had to say. Went on for longer than I expected today, but hey, Gavin Lux is just one of those kind of characters in Dodger lore. I think we're going to remember him for longer than we anticipated. But either way, guys, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Tubing in on an unexpected Monday earlier edition of the show. If you liked anything you listened to, please do hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 9,000 subscribers. If you're looking for a different way to support the channel, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/realfrg. For $5 a month, you can help support independent baseball and Dodgers coverage here on YouTube. And you also get access to our Discord server where we're talking about Dodgers baseball all day long, the community. That's where I found out. I literally saw somebody post in our Discord, hey, the Jeff Passan tweet that Luxy had been traded. So it's sort of become its own little, breaking news section of the internet that I've been enjoying. So check that out. Again, Patreon, or click the join button here somewhere on YouTube below us. All the links are in the description below. That is Kevin. Give him a follow on the Twitter at Skinner7Kevin. I am Real FRG. Give me a follow on all of the platforms. Would appreciate if you did that. All Dodgers is presented by Bet Online. We'll see you on the next one of these things. Okay, bye.